hope has returned for the 5 trapped men deep inside a flooded Laos cave. For more than a week, they huddled together above the murky waters in the pitch black, more than 260 meters from the cave's entrance, wondering if anyone would ever find them. On Wednesday, after days of hunger, salvation finally came as rescuers emerged from the darkness, illuminating the narrow rocky cavern with their headlamps.
The Democratic Republic of the Congo's DRC, Football Federation and FIFA have confirmed that its World Cup delegation is compliant with United States protocols related to the Ebola outbreak, clearing the way for the team to compete in the tournament. Congolese authorities said on Wednesday their federation FECOFA had held talks with FIFA this week and that the delegation was now fully compliant with health and safety protocols, including cancelling a training camp in Kinshasa and relocating preparations abroad. South Africa has named uncapped defenders Olwethu Makanya and Bradley Cross in its World Cup squad, with recent major trophy winners Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates dominating the roster. Both teams had 8 players each in South Africa's FIFA World Cup squad, named in Pretoria on Wednesday.
Brazil's World Cup preparations were jolted as Neymar missed the national team's first training session to undergo medical tests, leaving his place in the squad hanging in the balance. The Brazilian Football Confederation, CBF, confirmed the 34-year-old forward, who is recovering from an injury to his right calf, did not take part in the closed session at their facilities in Granja Comary and was referred to a private clinic in Teresópolis for imaging tests.
Punjab's Senior Minister Mariam Aurangzeb said on Thursday that Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz underwent major surgery at the Sharif Medical City Hospital in Lahore. In a post on the social media platform X, Aurangzeb said, Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz underwent major surgery at Sharif Medical City Hospital, after which she has been shifted home.
Bethlehem occupied West Bank. An orchestra of drums and whistles fills a hall at Bethlehem University as groups of cheering final-year students finish presenting their graduation projects. Families pour in throughout the day, flowers in hand, phones raised for photos. But beneath the celebration, a quiet dread is setting in.
Abidjan, Ivory Coast, Morocco has ranked first in Africa's Industrialization Index for the first time, overtaking South Africa, which had held the top position since 2010, according to a new report by the African Development Bank, AFDB. The bank's 2025 Africa Industrialization Index ranked Morocco at 0.8415 points, narrowly ahead of South Africa's 0.8396, reflecting what the AFDB described as sustained industrial upgrading, export diversification, and the effective implementation of strategic industrial policies.
The United States has carried out new strikes near Iran's Bandar Abbas port, targeting what it described as military threats to its forces and maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, according to reports. Iranian media said the explosion caused no casualties or property damage. The latest developments come amid rising tensions around the Strait of Hormuz, a key global shipping route that has become a major flashpoint in negotiations and contations and confrontations involving Iran and the US.
Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, says it struck a base used by United States forces in response to US attacks on an Iranian target near the Strait of Hormuz, as a fragile ceasefire comes under growing strain and negotiations to end the war drag on. Following this morning's aggression by the invading US military against a location on the outskirts of Bandar Abbas Airport using aerial projectiles, the American airbase that served as the source of the attack was targeted at 4:50 a.m. Rwanda RGC said on Thursday, according to Iranian state broadcaster IRIB.
Australia has charged a woman with alleged links to the ISIS group after she returned from Syria, as authorities intensify investigations into nationals repatriated from detention camps. Police said the 34-year-old arrived in the country alongside another woman and is due to appear in a Melbourne court on Thursday. She faces charges of being a member of a terrorist organisation and entering a declared conflict zone.
200 personnel from the Federal Constabulary's Special Diplomatic Protection Unit will receive training in Saudi Arabia. The Interior Ministry said on Thursday the decision was taken during a meeting between Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi and his Saudi counterpart Abdulaziz bin Saud Al Saud in Mina, Saudi Arabia.
Global average temperatures are likely to continue at or near record levels this year, and for the next 4 years afterwards, the United Nations warned on Thursday. The 11 hottest individual years ever recorded all happened from 2015 onwards, and the UN's Weather and Climate Agency said the trend was set to continue, with a new hottest ever year likely before 2031. The live-in personal assistant to Friends star Matthew Perry has been sentenced to 41 months in prison, capping a multi-year legal saga surrounding the actor's death. Kenneth Iwamasa, 60, who injected Perry with ketamine, worked with 2 doctors to provide the actor with more than $50,000, $38,000, of the drug in the weeks before his death, prosecutors said. Iwamasa had no medical training.
16 students have been killed in a fire at a boarding school in Gilgil, about 120 kilometres, 77 miles west of the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. A policeman told journalists at the scene. The fire at the Utumishi Girls' School started in the early hours of Thursday morning when the students were asleep, according to the Kenya Red Cross and police.
Vaibhav Suryavanshi has been termed a generational talent after the Rajasthan Royals teenager smashed 97 off 29 balls to power his side to victory in their Indian Premier League eliminator against Sunrisers Hyderabad. The 15-year-old also broke Chris Gale's record for most sixes in an IPL season on Wednesday, and taking his tally to 65 in the match and surpassing the former West Indies captors in 59 set in 2012. Luxury smartphone brand Vertu on Thursday unveiled a foldable phone powered by an AI agent that connects with enterprise software and coordinates workflows. The company is targeting executives who manage business operations and communications on the move. Called the Alpha Fold, the foldable smartphone starts at $6,880 for the calfskin version. Higher-end models feature bespoke finishes including alligator leather, 18K gold and nat-diamond accents, along with customized detailing. This continues Vertu's long-standing strategy of positioning its phones as luxury status symbols aimed at affluent buyers. The company told TechCrunch that its highest-end standard model is currently priced at $46,800, with further customization options available.
200 personnel of the Federal Constabulary's Special Diplomatic Protection Unit will receive training in Saudi Arabia. The Interior Ministry said on Thursday the decision was taken during a meeting between Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi and his Saudi counterpart Abdulaziz bin Saud Al Saud in Mina, Saudi Arabia.
The latest outbreak of a rare strain of the Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, and Uganda has prompted several governments to take action in a bid to stop the spread of the disease. The World Health Organization has recorded 10 confirmed deaths and 220 suspected deaths from the lethal Bundibugyo BVD strain of Ebola in DRC since mid-May. A further 900 suspected cases have been recorded since Kinshasa declared the outbreak on May 15. In Uganda, 5 cases and 1 death have been confirmed.
200 personnel of the Federal Constabulary's Special Diplomatic Protection Unit will receive training in Saudi Arabia, the Interior Ministry said on Thursday. The decision was taken during a meeting between Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi and his Saudi counterpart Abdulaziz bin Saud Al Saud in Mina, Saudi Arabia. The Australian government is suing US manufacturing giant 3M for $2 billion in damages. US won $4.11 BN over its alleged use of toxic forever chemicals in firefighting foam that contaminated dozens of defence bases across the country. It is the largest legal claim ever brought by the government. Attorney General Michelle Rowland said the seeks suitable costs in dealing with the chemicals known as PFAS at 28 locations.
A woman with links to the Islamic State group who returned to Australia from Syria last year has been charged with being a member of a terrorist organisation and entering a declared conflict zone. Police have said the 34-year-old arrived in Australia in September along with another woman, police said, and was to appear in a Melbourne court on Thursday.
A Chinese lawyer who fatally poisoned the billionaire gaming tycoon who helped produce the Netflix sci-fi hit Three Body Problem has been executed. According to Chinese state media, Xu Yao killed his boss Lin Chi in 2020 by gifting him what he said were probiotic pills, but in fact contained lethal toxins which he bought off the dark web and mixed in his own lab.
Oil prices bounced higher on Thursday, while Asian stocks mostly fell, as new US strikes on Iran marked the latest test of a shaky ceasefire in the Middle East war. The price jumps erased much of Wednesday's declines on the hopes of an imminent deal to end the conflict that has all but halted shipping through the crucial Strait of Hormuz for months.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard said on Thursday it targeted a US airbase after the US military carried out what a Washington official said were strikes targeting an Iranian drone operation near the Strait of Hormuz, hours after President Donald Trump rejected a report he was close to a compromise deal with Tehran. The escalation in hostilities highlighted threats to the tenuous ceasefire between the US and Iran that took effect in early April, dampening hopes for a peace deal and sending oil prices surging again.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said on Thursday that Takbir stands as a defining moment in Pakistan's history when the nation demonstrated unwavering resolve, unity and courage by emerging as a nuclear power and restoring the strategic balance in South Asia. Takbir marks the historic day of May 28, 1998, when Pakistan joined the ranks of nuclear powers after atomic tests in the hills of Chagai, Balochistan. An overloaded minivan collided with a truck in central China on Thursday, killing 13 people and injuring 3. Traffic police said the van, which had a maximum capacity of 9 passengers but was carrying 16, hit the rear of the truck while on an expressway in Henan province at 2:40 am, 1840 GMT. The Traffic Management Bureau of China's Ministry of Public Security said on social media. Harare, Zimbabwe, Precious Mvundara woke up with joint pain, a high fever and a pounding headache on a chilly autumn morning in eastern Zimbabwe. The 37-year-old initially thought it was just the flu, but when the headache persisted for 3 days, she became worried.
A Google software engineer has been charged with fraud by US authorities after allegedly using insider information to win more than 1-2 meters in bets on the prediction market platform Polymarket. Michele Spagnuolo, an Italian citizen residing in Switzerland, is accused of using confidential information lists. There's results of Google's annual most searched list, according to a criminal complaint unsealed on Wednesday.
The Abraham Accords were presented as a historic peace initiative in the Middle East. In reality, they were agreements brokered during US President Donald Trump's first presidency, under which several Arab states normalized ties with Israel without resolving the Palestinian issue. But Trump now appears keen to expand the accords again, pushing more Muslim countries to join after the recent Iran conflict. It is a dangerous and deeply dishonest move, driven less by regional peace than by pressure from Israel supporters in Washington and America's hardline pro-Israel right. The attempt to connect the Iran conflict with the Abraham Accords makes little sense.
The IMF's executive board has approved the 3rd review of Pakistan's 37-month extended fund facility, EF, adding 11 new conditions and raising total structural conditionality to 75. In addition, there are 30 standing commitments, bringing total compliance requirements to 105. These span fiscal, governance, monetary, financial, energy, state-owned enterprises, trade, investment, deregulation, social protection, and anti-corruption measures, many extending well beyond the IMF's core mandate and institutional competence. The sheer breadth of this conditionality now touches almost every sphere of economic activity and governance, steadily eroding Pakistan's policy autonomy and economic sovereignty. Parliament is required to approve the FY27 budget in line with the IMF's stringent and intrusive policy advice and targets, effectively reducing the legislature to a rubber stamp. Pakistan is to phase out fiscal incentives for special economic and technology zones, publish an action plan to mitigate corruption vulnerabilities in government departments, amend the NAB ordinance to enhance the appointment process for NAB chairman, publish asset declarations of civil servants, amend the Companies Act to improve corporate governance structures, adopt a national policy for sugar market liberalisation, and lift restrictions on commercial import of used cars.